Hello everyone, Troy Martin, TM Fitness and Body Type Nutrition, and this is the fourth video in my series on sustainable and healthy weight loss. Okay, so in the previous video I talked about nutrition for weight loss, and in this one I'm going to be talking about exercise for weight loss. So when we talk about traditional exercise, there's two main types. You have your cardiovascular exercise and you have strength training. Where cardiovascular exercise is concerned, there's two primary types of that. You have your high intensity cardiovascular exercise, which is usually shorter bursts of higher efforts. And then you have your steady state cardio, which is usually lower efforts, but for longer periods. So what is the purpose of exercise for fat loss? Well, as we talked about in previous videos, you need to be in a consistent energy deficit in order to lose body fat. And exercise is simply a tool for helping to create that deficit. So let me explain a little bit more about the cardio side of things. So first of all, let's look at the intense cardiovascular exercise. Okay, so for an exercise to be truly intense, you need to be working at above 85% of your maximum heart rate, which is pretty tough. So this is why you can't sustain these efforts for a long period of time, because you get knackered. So generally what you do is a form of interval training, high intensity interval training, where you will do short bursts of maximal effort with a short recovery interval. You do as many as you can until you're ready to lose your breakfast. Because you're working at such high intensities, it can be quite strenuous on the central nervous system. So you wouldn't want to do this type of training more than once or twice a week. There's a little bit of a myth about the afterburn effect of intense exercise. Yes, it does increase your metabolism a little bit by a few percent, but it's not quite as we're led to believe that over the next 24 hours you're burning twice as many calories just by sitting on your ass eating ice cream. It's more likely that you'll burn, an extra 30 to maybe 100 calories in total. What? But every gym in the country says that high intense exercise is fat burning. Well, it does burn calories, but it's not burning fat. What you're actually doing, because you're working at those higher intensities, it's an anaerobic exercise, which means it's without oxygen, and therefore you're almost exclusively using your carbohydrate stores for energy, because it's the energy that's in your muscles. So you're burning sugar, not fat. What? But high intense exercise is a fat burning workout. No, it's not. It's a glycolytic exercise. Okay, so let's look at steady state cardio. So steady state cardio, by contrast to high intense exercise, because you're working in the lower levels of intensity, so around 65–70% of your maximum heart rate, you're actually oxidizing fat as your primary fuel substrate. That's part of the reason why when you do steady state cardio, you can do it for much longer. Plus it's much less taxing on the central nervous system, so it fatigues you a lot more slowly. The downside to steady state cardio is that it can be quite time consuming. If you enjoy going for long runs and long bike rides and you've got time to go out on your bike for 4 or 5 hours at a time, then that's great, do it. But if you haven't got time for those extra 4 or 5 hours, then you might be better off doing some more intense, shorter workouts. In terms of energy used, with the high intense exercise, if you're working at a properly intense level, you're not going to be doing more than 10–15 minutes at a time. If you're working for longer than that and you think you're doing high intense exercise, you're probably doing more moderate exercise at around 75–80%. So this would be something like a circuit class. So in a short HIIT session, for instance, you might burn 200 or 300, maybe 400 calories. Whereas in a longer, low intensity session, like a long bike ride, you might be burning as many as 1,000–1,500 calories. So you can see the difference there. So the steady state cardio is going to help you create that energy deficit. But as I said, it's more time consuming. So you've got to find that balance and work out what works best for you. Okay, strength exercise. So strength training is really good for obviously improving your strength. It's going to help to build muscle, and obviously the more muscle to fat you have, the higher metabolism is. So if you're an 80-kilo man and you have 12% body fat, and then over here we have an 80-kilo man with 40% body fat, This man is going to have a higher caloric need than this man because this man has a higher percentage of muscle to fat. Muscle uses more energy than fat. Yeah, so strength training is going to help to build muscle. It's going to help to change your body shape for the better. So when you eventually lose that body fat, you've got this nice toned, defined physique underneath, and then that's when you start looking much sexier, and that's when you're starting to achieve that look that most people are after. So when people say that, oh, I just want to tone up, in order to tone up, you need to build muscle and lose fat. So you do a combination of strength training and cardiovascular exercise to help achieve that. But don't worry, ladies, the chances are you're not going to get big and butch. And if you do pick up a weight and you suddenly get massive muscles, tell me how you did it, because I will then sell that to every man in every gym in the world and I will be a millionaire. Okay, so let me summarize. Exercise is going to help you to achieve that calorie deficit that you need. For the average person, 3 to 4 strength sessions a week, aiming for total body strength, and then a couple of cardio sessions on top. So you just pick the one that you like the most. If you enjoy intense exercise, do a couple of those, maybe a couple of HIIT sessions at the end of your strength session. If you enjoy the steady state cardio, then go for a couple of bike rides or a couple of runs or do some swimming or whatever. At the end of the day, you need to enjoy your exercise, so pick the form of exercise that you enjoy the most. Okay, I think I've covered all the basics there. So that was exercise for fat loss. Watching this on YouTube, don't forget to click subscribe. If you've got any questions, just drop them in whichever relevant box below and I will see you soon. Laters. Intense cardiovascular exercise. Scratch your nose. Pardon me.